My name is Alex, and I'm a paranormal investigator. I've spent years chasing ghostly legends, exploring eerie old buildings, and listening to the whispers of the dead. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that fateful night in the cemetery. It all began when I received an email from a woman named Sarah. She claimed her family's cemetery was cursed, that dark and malevolent spirits roamed among the tombstones, and that her ancestors had paid a terrible price for a long-forgotten sin. Intrigued and eager for a new adventure, I packed my equipment and headed to the remote town of Blackwood. Blackwood was a place frozen in time. The tall, gnarled trees seemed to claw at the overcast sky, casting long, eerie shadows over the street. The townsfolk regarded me with a mixture of curiosity and unease as I made my way to the cemetery, guided by Sarah's hand-drawn map. The cemetery was a sprawling expanse of crumbling headstones, some dating back centuries. Ivy and moss had claimed the graves, obscuring names and dates, rendering them anonymous in their decay. The air was heavy with a palpable sense of dread, and even my flashlight's beam seemed hesitant to pierce the darkness. As I began to set up my equipment near the oldest part of the cemetery, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Each gust of wind rustling through the trees felt like a spectral whisper in my ear. It was as if the very earth beneath me held the memories of countless souls who had met their end here. I turned on my EVP electronic voice phenomenon recorder and asked, "Is there anyone here with us?" The night was eerily silent until a low, mournful whisper echoed through the recorder. "Help me." My heart raced as I played back the recording, confirming what I had heard. A voice, desperate and pleading, begging for help from beyond the grave. It sent a shiver down my spine that I couldn't shake. Ignoring my instincts, I pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the curse. The mist thickened around me as I approached a weathered mausoleum, its stone walls adorned with strange symbols and faded engravings. My curiosity got the best of me, and I pushed open the heavy, creaking door. Inside, the air was frigid, and the silence was deafening. My flashlight revealed ornate coffins and dusty relics of a bygone era. But what truly sent chills down my spine was a mural on the far wall. It depicted a grotesque scene of a winged, skeletal figure devouring the souls of the damned. It was unlike anything I had ever seen in a cemetery. As I examined the mural, I heard a soft, guttural whisper emanating from the depths of the mausoleum. "Leave, or join us." I spun around, my heart pounding, but there was no one there. I tried to maintain my composure as I asked, "Who are you? What happened here?" The response was a chorus of eerie voices, like a choir of tormented souls. We were betrayed, cursed, trapped. My legs felt like lead as I backed away from the mural. The oppressive atmosphere closed in on me, suffocating me with a sense of impending doom. But I couldn't leave. Not yet. I had to know more. I ventured deeper into the mausoleum, following the trail of strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the dark. They led me to a hidden chamber where I found a crumbling journal covered in dust. The entries dated back to the 18th century and told a harrowing tale of a family feud, betrayal, and an ancient curse. According to the journal, Sarah's ancestors had been involved in a sinister ritual that had unleashed an otherworldly force upon their bloodline. The curse had condemned them to eternal torment, and they had become the malevolent spirits that now haunted the cemetery. As I read, a cold hand seemed to grip my shoulder, and a spectral figure materialized before me. Its eyes were hollow voids, and its voice was a haunting whisper. "You've seen too much," it hissed. Panic surged through me as I stumbled backward, dropping the journal. I fumbled for my flashlight and shone it directly at the apparition. It recoiled, its form flickering like a dying candle. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter, forming a protective barrier that the spirit couldn't cross. Desperation fueled my actions. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small vial of salt, scattering it in a circle around me. The spirit hissed and wailed, unable to breach the protective barrier. It was a risky gambit, but it seemed to be working. With a trembling hand, I grabbed my recorder and hit record. "Tell me how to break the curse," I demanded. The spirit's voice was a mournful wail. "The curse can only be broken if a descendant willingly offers their own life in exchange for ours." I knew what I had to do. I had to find Sarah and convince her to make the ultimate sacrifice. But as I turned to leave the mausoleum, I was met with a sight that froze me in my tracks. The cemetery had come alive with spectral apparitions, each one more twisted and grotesque than the last. They crowded around me, their eyes filled with anguish and anger. I was trapped, surrounded by the tormented souls of the cursed family. One of them, a gaunt figure with a gaping wound on its chest, reached out to touch me. Its touch was like ice, sending a searing pain through my body. I gasped as I felt my life force draining away, and I knew I was running out of time. Summoning every ounce of strength, I recited an incantation I had learned in my years of paranormal research. A blinding light erupted from the circle of salt, repelling the spirits and sending them screaming into the darkness. As the last of the apparitions faded away, I stumbled out of the mausoleum, battered and bruised. But I had survived, and I had the knowledge to break the curse. I found Sarah and shared the grim truth with her. The choice weighed heavily on her, but she knew what had to be done to free her ancestors from their torment. With a heavy heart, she performed the ritual, offering her own life as a sacrifice. The moment the curse was broken, the atmosphere in the cemetery changed. The malevolent presence that had hung over it for centuries dissipated, and a sense of peace settled over the graves. But as I stood there, surrounded by the grateful spirits, I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly done the right thing. I had saved Sarah's family, but at what cost? The memory of that night in the cemetery would haunt me forever. A reminder that sometimes the pursuit of the unknown can lead to unspeakable horrors. So, if you ever find yourself drawn to a remote cemetery in a forgotten town, remember my story. Some curses are best left undisturbed, and some nightmares are all too real.